This kitten had its limbs deliberately cut off. Even its tail and ears were not spared. Without its limbs, it was helpless and in despair, flesh and bone exposed, leaving it in unbearable pain. But the kitten couldn't speak, and no one knew its suffering. Heartbreakingly, it was only 1 month old, yet it had already endured so much pain. Luckily, Mom arrived before death could claim it. The young woman took it home and named it Luna. Mom encouraged Luna to stay strong, but after arriving home, it kept hiding in a corner, as if it was terrified of the world. But Mom never gave up. She stayed patiently by Luna's side, using gentle words and soft touches to comfort her. Slowly, Luna began to feel that warmth and tried stepping out of the corner, exploring this unfamiliar home. But as she grew, her bones would tear at the wounds, making every movement painful. The wounds would scab, then reopen again to help her move more safely. Mom covered the house with carpets, but she still couldn't move normally. So Mom added even more soft flooring. Thanks to that, Luna could finally move around. This time, she wasn't afraid of falling, even without limbs. She left her little traces across the carpet. She began moving through different rooms, though it was still difficult. Her will to live and courage made her full of life. Every time Luna tried to move, Mom felt her heart warm. She knew this little kitten was fighting to live her own way, holding on with strength. Mom prepared a cozy bed for her, lined with soft cushions, so she could rest comfortably. Luna seemed to love it. She would curl up inside, enjoying the warmth and peace with devoted care. Her wounds slowly healed, though she had lost her limbs forever. Her eyes grew brighter each day, filled with love for life because her legs were fragile to prevent pain from litter. Mom used soft pads for her under Mom's care. She became more lively and adorable. People online said Luna was very clean, but to Mom, she was even more precious than a panda. Whenever Mom called, she would obediently come over. Maybe she knew without Mom, she wouldn't be here today. Maybe fate was once too cruel, pushing her into endless darkness. But now Luna has found the one who loves her most, and surely her future will be full of happiness. May kindness be blessed with a lifetime of peace. The little cat you see here unexpectedly went viral online, simply for eating politely. He's wide-eyed and adorable, quiet, gentle, never causing trouble. And it didn't take long for him to win over countless hearts. His name is Bon Bon. As cute as he is, most people don't know he was battling a rare condition. At just 2 years old, while playing, he suddenly collapsed and couldn't get up. He was rushed to the hospital. Tests revealed a severe neurological disorder, and because of it, his whole body became paralyzed. The doctors gently advised his owner to let him go, but she just couldn't. She couldn't watch him fade away, so she took him home to care for him herself. In those first days at home, Bon Bon was incredibly weak. He could only survive by staying in a warm incubator. His body wouldn't obey him at all. He couldn't even eat on his own. She had to feed him one tiny piece at a time. Maybe it was the pain, maybe it was the hopelessness he felt. But after every meal, he would just stare quietly at the ceiling, completely still. But unlike his silence, his owner never once thought of giving up. Every day she cared for him with patience. Afraid he'd feel lonely, she always talked to him, played with him. To prevent his limbs from deteriorating, she insisted on giving Bon Bon rehab exercises, over and over again, never complaining. The days of treatment were long and exhausting, but she never uttered a single complaint. Until one morning, when she was feeding Bon Bon like always, his little eyes suddenly shimmered with tiny tears. When she leaned closer, he gently rubbed his head against her. Maybe he understood everything she'd done for him, and this was his clumsy way of saying thank you. As time passed, under her constant care, Bon Bon slowly regained his strength. His little face even began to round out again. One morning, she made a surprising discovery. His body had started to respond. When she took out a toy, he tried lifting his front legs to reach for it. From that day on, with each patient training session, Bon Bon began trying to move his legs. Those slow, clumsy steps somehow felt nothing short of a miracle. Maybe life really can be awakened by love. When someone chooses to stay by your side, without ever growing tired, even the weakest life will fight with everything it has to grow strong again.
A man headed up the mountain to chop firewood. Inside a hollow, dried-out tree, he stumbled upon a lost little kitten. Worried it might become prey for wild animals, he decided to take it home and figure things out later. The moment they got home, he mixed up some milk and fed the tiny kitten. After all, where there's milk, there's home. Once its belly was full, the kitten perked right up. Still, they couldn't help but wonder what breed it was. Its body was covered in leopard-like spots, and it refused to eat regular cat kibble. It only seemed interested in raw meat. One brief moment of distraction, and the little rascal grabbed a whole chicken and ran. Even when caught, it refused to give up. The smell of meat had it practically drooling. Though confused, the couple still loved it dearly, determined never to let it go hungry. As time went by, every single meal had to be mixed with minced meat, or it would meow nonstop. They could tell by now it wasn't an ordinary cat, but their curiosity only grew stronger. Whenever they had free time, they played with it, buying all kinds of different toys. The kitten truly began to feel the warmth of human love. Before they knew it, it had grown a lot. The leopard-like spots became more and more distinct. Though many of its behaviors seemed cat-like, something still didn't feel quite right. They often saw it running on the exercise wheel, and from behind, it looked just like a leopard. Whenever it appeared, it instantly became the center of attention. People would gather around asking for photos. Before long, it became the most famous cat in town. Other cats, drawn by its reputation, came to make friends. After all, it was fully grown by then, and the man sometimes sensed it felt lonely. It would sit in the car looking unusually down. That is, until a white cat appeared. It was love at first sight. After just one meeting, the white cat tried everything to win it over. No matter how cool and distant it acted, the two eventually became inseparable. They ended up having 4 kittens. Both parents had strong genes, each passing traits down to 2 kittens. So, is this a happy ending? Do you know what kind of cat this really is?
When she opened the door, she found an unexpected visitor staring straight into her home. She thought the little guy was pretty interesting, so she lured him inside. At first, she assumed it was just an ordinary cat, so she didn't pay much attention to how it looked. But in the end, everyone would say she had found a true treasure. In the unfamiliar environment, the little guy looked terrified, but his constantly wagging tail seemed to tell her he wanted a home. She then prepared some milk for him. Starving, the little guy devoured it immediately. After eating his fill, he looked at her with a pitiful expression, letting out soft meows non-stop. Just like that, she decided to let him stay. After all, a kitten this adorable. How could she leave him out on the streets? Since she had no experience raising pets, she let him sleep in a cardboard box for now. After a few days together, she realized he was incredibly understanding, always looking at her with those pleading eyes. Maybe because he had been wandering since he was young, he was exhausted from those hungry days, and now, feeling human warmth for the first time, he was moved to tears. To let him feel the warmth of a real home, she even prepared a soft and cozy bed just for him. Whenever she had time, she would play with him, but no matter what he did, he was always cautious, as if afraid of being abandoned again. Even when she showered, he stayed nearby, guarding her. He craved a mother's love so deeply. As time passed, she grew more and more fond of this sweet kitten. She bought him lots of toys and even gave him his own little room, though his sleeping positions were often hilarious. Living in a place without mice made his days feel a bit boring. So not to lose his natural instincts, he would often grab a soft-shell turtle and play-bite it. Sometimes even a carrot could keep him busy for hours. Gradually, she noticed his appearance started to change, and he became more and more clingy. He had to curl up in her arms every day, just to sleep peacefully. She thought his weight had reached its limit, but unexpectedly he became so heavy she struggled to lift him, spending all day sitting like a chubby lump, and even sulking when scolded, then casually lying in the sink for another nap. In the end, she still couldn't figure out what breed this cat actually was. It turns out, the cuter they are as kittens, the more shocking they become when they grow up.